The tattooer. Karakusa Gonta was celebrated as a master of red ink tattoos, and Kiyokichi became known for his strange compositions and alluring lines. Originally he admired the style of Toyokuni Kunizada and was a ukiyo-e artist, but even after he fell into the world of tattooing, he still possessed an artist's conscience and sensitivity. Only those with skin and bone structures that captivated him could hope to wear his tattoos. Even if one were to get a tattoo, they had to submit to all the compositions and costs according to his wishes, enduring the unbearable pain of the needles for 1 or 2 months. Within the heart of this young tattoo artist lay pleasures and desires unknown to others. When he pierced the skin of others with needles, most men would let out painful groans, unable to endure the throbbing of their flesh swelling with bright red blood. The more intense the groans, the more inexplicable pleasure he felt. Among tattoos, the red ink and shading was said to be particularly painful. He particularly enjoyed using those techniques. Those who were pricked by an average of 500 to 600 needles a day, emerging from the bath to improve the color, all fell half dead at Kiyokichi's feet, unable to move for a while. Kiyokichi would always gaze at their miserable figures coolly, saying with a smile, "You must be in great pain." If a cowardly man distorted his face and gritted his teeth in agony, as if he was suffering a death sentence, he would say, "You're also a child of Edo. Hang in there, Kiyokichi's needles are exceptionally painful." As he spoke, he would glance at the tearful face of the man while continuing to tattoo without concern. If a patient person gritted his teeth and endured without furrowing a single brow, he would say, "You don't look like the type to withstand this. But just wait, soon the pain will start to throb, and you won't be able to stand it." His long-standing desire was to obtain the skin of a radiant beauty and to imprint his own soul into it. There were various requests regarding the qualities and appearance of the woman. It was not enough for him to simply have a beautiful face and beautiful skin. He could not be satisfied that easily. Even after investigating every renowned woman in the pleasure districts of Edo, he found it challenging to discover the taste and tone that suited his sensibilities. He had spent 3 or 4 years yearning for the figure of someone he had yet to see, but he did not abandon that wish. One evening in the 4th summer, as he passed by the Hirose restaurant in Fukagawa, he suddenly noticed, from the shadow of the curtains of a waiting palanquin at the entrance, the delicate white bare feet of a woman. To his sharp eyes, a human foot had as complex an expression as a face. That woman's feet were to him a precious treasure of flesh. The way the 5 delicate toes were arranged, starting from the big toe and ending at the little toe, the color of the nails that rivaled the pale shellfish found on the shores of the island of pictures, the gem-like roundness of her heels, and the rich skin that seemed to be washed constantly by the pure waters of a rocky stream, all of these made that foot a candidate for becoming plump with a man's lifeblood, one that would trample over a man's corpse. The woman who possessed such feet seemed to him to be the ultimate woman he had long sought. With his heart racing, Kiyokichi chased after the palanquin, hoping to catch a glimpse of her face, but after 2 or 3 blocks, the shadow was no longer visible. His longing quickly transformed into a passionate love, and as the year came to a close, one morning in the middle of the 5th spring, Kiyokichi, while holding a toothbrush in his mouth, was gazing at a pot of omoto on the wet veranda of his residence in Fukagawa, Saga Town, when he heard a knock at the back gate of the garden. A girl whom he had never seen before entered from the shadow of the fence. She was a messenger sent by a geisha from Tatsumi, a familiar face to Kiyokichi. From my eldest sister, I have brought this houri to give to you, asking if you could paint a design on the lining. The girl said, unwrapping a yellow wrapping cloth and taking out a woman's houri wrapped in a letter, which was adorned with a painting of Iwai Tokoboku. The letter requested that, having asked for a design on the houri, since the girl would soon be making her debut as my younger sister in the parlor, please do not forget about me and also take care of this girl. I thought I didn't recognize your face, but you must have come here recently, Kiyokichi said, observing the girl closely. She seemed to be around 16 or 17 years old, but her face was strangely mature, as if she had spent many years in the pleasure quarters, playing with the souls of countless men. It was the sort of beauty that seemed to have been born from the dreams of many lovely men and women who had lived and died in the capital, where the nation's sins and riches flowed in. You returned by palanquin from Hirose around June of last year, didn't you? He asked, while watching the girl's carefully crafted bare feet on the bungo-style platform. Yes, back then my father was still alive, so I often came to Hirose, she replied, laughing at the strange question. Now, it's been 5 years since then. Although it's my first time seeing your face, I remember your feet. I have something I want to show you, so come upstairs and have a leisurely look, Kiyokichi said, taking the girl's hand as she tried to leave. He led her to the second-floor room overlooking the great river, took out 2 scrolls, and first spread one before her. It was a painting of the beautiful consort of the tyrant King Jo, named Beiki. The lovely figure, unable to bear the weight of the golden crown studded with lapis lazuli and coral, leaned against the railing, her sumptuous attire fluttering in the mid-stairway. She gazed at the man who was about to be sacrificed before her, as he awaited his grim fate, his head bowed and eyes closed. The expressions of both the consort and the condemned man were depicted with astonishing skill. The girl stared at the strange painting for a moment, unknowingly captivated. Strangely, her face gradually began to resemble that of the consort. In that moment, she discovered her own hidden true self. This painting reflects your heart, Kiyokichi said, laughing joyfully as he looked into the girl's face. Why would you show me something so terrifying? The girl said, lifting her pale forehead. The woman in this painting is you. The blood of this woman must flow within you, he said, revealing another scroll. It bore the title Fertilizer. In the center of the painting, a young woman leaned against a cherry tree, gazing at the many corpses of men lying at her feet. Birds surrounded her, singing triumphantly, and the woman's eyes overflowed with undeniable pride and joy. It was unclear whether it depicted the aftermath of a battle or the beauty of a spring garden. Seeing this, the girl felt as if she were uncovering something lurking deep within her heart. This illustrates your future. The people who have fallen here will all sacrifice their lives for you, Kiyokichi said, pointing to the woman in the painting who resembled the girl exactly. Please, for the love of all that is holy, put that painting away quickly, the girl exclaimed, turning away from the painting as if avoiding temptation and prostrating herself on the tatami mat, though soon after, she trembled and spoke again. Master, I confess. As you suspected, I possess a nature like that of the woman in your painting. So please have mercy and put that away. Don't say such cowardly things, you should look at this painting more closely. You can be frightened of it now, but it's better to do so, Kiyokichi said, a familiar wicked smile appearing on his face. However, the girl couldn't easily raise her head. With her face concealed by her sleeve, she remained bent over, repeating, Master, please let me go home. It's terrifying to be by your side. Wait a moment. I will make you into a magnificent woman, he said casually, moving closer to her. Inside his pocket was a bottle of sleeping medicine he had received from a Dutch doctor. The sun shone gently on the river surface, and the 8-tatami room was lit as if it were burning. The light reflected from the water created golden ripples on the face of the daughter sleeping peacefully and on the shoji paper. Kiyokichi, with tattooing tools in hand, closed the room's partition and sat there, lost in a blissful daze for a while. For the first time, he was able to savor the woman's exquisite form. In front of her unmoving face, he felt as if he could sit in this one room for 10 or even 100 years without ever becoming tired of it. Just as the ancient people of Memphis adorned the grand land of Egypt with pyramids and sphinxes, Kiyokichi intended to color the pure human skin with his love. Eventually he laid the brush tip, which he had inserted between his left little finger, ring finger, and thumb, on the girl's back and began to pierce with the needle using his right hand. The spirit of the young tattoo artist dissolved in the ink, seeping into the skin. Each drop of the Ryukyu red, mixed with shochu and embedded in the skin, was a part of his life force. There he saw the color of his soul. Before long, noon passed, and the calm spring day gradually began to set, but Kiyokichi's hands did not rest at all, nor did the girl's sleep break. Even the box maker who went out to look for her, worried about her late return, was told, "That girl has already gone home a long time ago," and was sent back. By the time the moon rose over the mansion across the river, casting a dreamy light that flowed into the houses along the shore, the tattoo was still only halfway done, and Kiyokichi was deeply focused on igniting the candle's wick. It was no easy task for him to pour a single drop of color. With each prick of the needle, he exhaled deeply, feeling as if his own heart was being pierced. The marks from the needle gradually began to take the form of a giant spider, and by the time the night began to pale, this mysterious and enchanting creature had stretched its 8 legs, sprawling across her back. As the spring night opened to the sounds of rowers on the riverboats, and the dawn wind began to carry away the mist from the tops of white sails, Kiyokichi finally set down his brush and gazed at the spider tattooed on the girl's back. That tattoo was his entire life. After finishing the work, his heart felt empty. The two shadows remained motionless for a while. Then a low, hoarse voice trembled against the 4 walls of the room. "I have poured my soul into this tattoo to make you a truly beautiful woman. From now on, there will be no woman in all of Japan who surpasses you. You no longer possess the cowardly heart you once had. Every man will become your fertilizer." Whether or not those words registered, a faint, thread-like moan rose to the girl's lips. She gradually began to regain her senses. With each heavy inhale and exhale, the spider's legs seemed to move as if alive. "It must be painful. The spider is hugging your body," he said. At these words, the girl opened her thin, meaningless eyes. Her pupils began to shine, reflecting the light of the evening moon, illuminating the man's face. "Master, please show me the tattoo on my back quickly. Since I've taken your life, I must surely have become beautiful," she said, her words dreamlike, yet there was a sharp strength behind her tone. "Well, let's go to the bathhouse to enhance the color. It may be painful, but just bear with it for a moment," Kiyokichi whispered, leaning in close to her ear with a sympathetic tone. "If I can become beautiful, I will endure anything," she replied, suppressing the pain in her body and forcing a smile. "Ah, pain from the hot water is overwhelming. Master, for the sake of mercy, please leave me behind and go wait upstairs. I feel ashamed to let a man see me in such a miserable state. The girl, unable to wipe herself dry after the bath, pushed away Kiyokichi's caring hands and threw herself onto the wooden floor of the washroom in intense agony, moaning as if in a nightmare. Her disheveled hair fell sensuously over her cheeks. Behind her stood a dressing table, and her 2 white soles were reflected on its surface. Kiyokichi was taken aback by the girl's drastically changed demeanor compared to yesterday. However, as she had asked, he waited alone upstairs. After about half an hour, the girl came up, letting her wet hair slide down over her shoulders and adjusting her appearance. She raised her bright, unclouded brows in pain and leaned against the railing, gazing up at the vaguely shimmering sky. I'm giving you this painting along with the tattoo, so you can take it home now, Kiyokichi said, placing the scroll before her. Master, I have completely discarded my previous cowardly heart, she replied, her eyes shining like a sword. You were the first to become my nourishment. Before you leave, show me that tattoo once more, Kiyokichi said. The girl nodded silently and bared her skin. Just then, the morning sun shone upon the tattoo, making her back radiant.